Jesse, since we have a light, can we get another white? Please.
You want one?
Yes, please.
All right.
Everybody got their mic checks too?
Got it.
Thank you.
Nobody asked for us.
Because that's what it's all about.
Great to myself in the field too.
How's it going? Usually a simple Monday for me. I'm used to seeing you here. Yeah, dude, I was my first time being here.
We don't serve pizza here.
Yeah, I usually come most of my day.
And there will be no practice of allecation. No locker room.
Like, I don't know if there was any replays I can access. I got the word.
So,
All of our cameras have it, just really have them, so they're really well, and then they hook up to these cameras too. So, yeah, yeah, yeah. They're a road mic, ROD.
thank you for providing a light that helps.
It's super dark in here, so
Yeah, it's
whatever we can do to
courtesy,
make it better, yeah.
Appreciate that. Jake from Safe Harbor.
Yeah, he's not here today.
Good morning, everyone ready? Well, thank you for being here. I am Chris Bailey, the Chief of the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department. Here with me today is Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears. Prosecutor Mears will provide a rundown of the facts as we know them at this time, and then after that I'll come back up for some additional comments, and then we can answer some questions. Prosecutor?
Thank you, Chief. Once again, my name is Ryan Mears. I'm the Marion County Prosecutor here in Indianapolis, Indiana. And for those of you who are certainly familiar with how the criminal justice system works here in Indianapolis, on Saturday we were presented and submitted a probable cause affidavit from IMPD that kind of contained an initial outline of the allegations that occurred early Friday night, or late Friday night, early Saturday morning involving the defendant, Mark Sanchez. An initial probable cause affidavit was filed, and we made a preliminary charging determination based on that information. As is always the case, Chief and his team continued to work on this matter, continued to track down additional details for us, and really supplemented that probable cause affidavit. I cannot say enough good things about the work that took place at IMPD. There was a ton of information to sift through and gather. Did an excellent job of acquiring that information. And as a consequence of that effort, we received an amended or an additional probable cause affidavit this morning. Again, this is something that happens in virtually every case here in Marion County. And with that additional information, we have added more serious charges against Mr. Sanchez. At this point in time, we have filed a felony charge, a level 5 felony of battery involving serious bodily injury, which contains a penalty of 1 to 6 years. One of the things that I want to stress to everybody is that we are still in the early stages of this investigation. Chief and his team have a number of search warrants that are still outstanding. They're still tracking down additional information. This is by no means the end of this investigation. This by no means means that these are going to be the final charges that we move forward with. We could not have done this case and be in a position to make today's charging decision without the hard work of IMPD and people in the community who came forward with information and pointed us in the right direction. And we've gathered a ton of information. One of the challenges you have in a case like this is the fact that you are dealing with individuals who are receiving medical care, and that's obviously the most important thing, that individuals are treated appropriately. But once we were provided with additional information about the victim's current medical condition, it became clear to us that additional charges needed to be filed. There's a supporting probable cause affidavit which was filed with the court today, which outlines the additional information which we have received thanks to the effort of IMPD, and that's why we were able to file the charges. A couple of things just about this incident. Certainly the thing that stands out to us is this was a situation that did not need to occur. You have the allegations involve a 38-year-old man becoming involved in an altercation with a 69-year-old man who sustained significant and very severe injuries as a result of that altercation. The probable cause outlines kind of the initial nature of that dispute. We are literally talking about people fighting over a parking space, or a dispute about where people are parking, and it resulted in someone receiving just incredibly significant injuries. Where this incident took place was an area of the city which was very well covered by surveillance footage. There are multiple angles of surveillance footage which capture the events that occurred. And in addition, we had a number of civilian witnesses who came forward with provided information about what took place. For us, though, we need additional information, and Chief's team is working on that. And once we receive that additional information, additional charges might be appropriate to file. In a case like this, one of the things that you are considering is where people are coming from, where were people going, what were they doing, and then once individuals receive medical care, we're obviously very interested in what those medical records look like, because they can a lot of times give us greater insight into what was going on that day and potentially provide some information into an individual's state of mind. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Chief Bailey.
Thank you, Prosecutor. First and foremost, I want to say that my thoughts and prayers are with the victim in this case and his family as he is on the road to recovery. I also want to just express just how proud I am of the officers and detectives of this police department who, those early morning hours of Saturday, rushed in to provide medical care and find out what was going on, and then spent the next really 2 full days putting this case together to present to our partners at the Marion County Prosecutor's Office. All of them, including deputy prosecutors, including the prosecutor himself, worked all weekend nonstop to bring those initial charges. And as he said, we continue to work on this case to find additional information, additional evidence, and additional witnesses to make this case stronger. The professionalism that we saw from our teams is what makes this department one of the best in this city, one of the best in the country, and their commitment to our community and keeping downtown and every neighborhood in our city safe was evident. Downtown Indianapolis remains a safe and welcoming environment for the people that live here and the people that visit here. It remains one of our safest neighborhoods. To date, violent crime is down 5% in downtown. Property crime is down 11%. Overall crime is down 10%. And across our city, violent crime is down 21%. That is because of the hard work of all of our partners in the criminal justice system, including Prosecutor Mears and the work of our detectives, the work that we see from our Office of Public Health and Safety, and the work of our boots on the ground community-based organizations who every day are doing their part to make our city safe. But I want to be clear about this. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you do for a living. I don't care where you live. If you come into our city, commit violence, we will use all the tools at our disposal to hold you accountable. As we move forward, IMPD will continue to maintain our strong, visible presence in downtown on those high visibility, high traffic weekends at major events to make sure that our community is safe. And I continue to urge our community to respect one another. As the prosecutor said, this did not need to happen. It just did not. We need to recognize our differences, respect those differences, and deal with our conflict without resorting to violence, because it's just not worth it. I appreciate the cooperation of our community and the downtown residents and businesses who continue to support their police department, each other, and work with us to solve our problems. Thank you, and now we will take some questions.
Ryan Mears, Prosecutor Mears, are there any laws on the books that state that charges will be up based on maybe a victim's age, especially if this person was elderly?
So traditionally, that's more of a statutory aggravator as it relates to sentencing. And so one of the things that the court can consider when they're trying to impose a sentence, as I mentioned, this is a level 5 felony, 1 to 6 years. One of the statutory aggravators is the age of the victim. And certainly that is something that the judge could consider when they're imposing a sentence.
Did investigators take a BAC level from Sanchez?
Well, anytime anyone's admitted to the hospital, there's a number of things that are conducted as just kind of a matter of routine and a matter of procedure. And I think as you work through the process, certainly health records are protected. We have to go through that process of making sure that any information that we receive is obtained through the proper channels. And I know Chief's team's working on that.
Do we know if investigators have had a chance to talk to any of Sanchez's associates to piece together what his Friday night was like before this happened?
I can't answer exactly what step in the process the investigators are at, but as the prosecutor mentioned, just because charges are filed doesn't mean the case or the investigation stops. So the investigators will be looking into all those things, and I think the medical records are going to be extremely important for both individuals to help the prosecutor make an important a charging decision to see if there's some other way to another charge that needs to be added, but also to see if there was some sort of altered state of mind of the individuals involved in this incident.
Does the felony mean his bond has now changed?
So as you know, we're currently assigned to a misdemeanor level 6 court with the additional charges. This case will be transferred to a major felony court, and then it would be up to that major felony court to make the determination as to whether or not a bond should be imposed regarding the new charges. Again, these new charges are supported by an amended probable cause affidavit, which goes into way more detail about what took place on that night, and also more clearly outlines the nature and extent of the victim's injuries in this case.
How does the state's self-defense law play into this and the allegations?
Well, certainly Indiana has some of the most robust self-defense laws in the nation, and that's always going to be part of the equation when you evaluate cases like this and trying to determine exactly what took place. And it will certainly be at the center of this particular trial as well when we have conversations about were people acting reasonably or not. And in Indiana, you have no duty to retreat. And so those are all things that you need to consider in terms of when you make that initial charging decision. Those facts have been evaluated, and certainly the self-defense law is going to be an issue that will be raised at trial.
Last question.
You tweeted yesterday for the first time in 3 years, criticizing the governor for his quick take for political gain. What's your reaction to that?
Well, for me, the most important thing is that we get information out there that is accurate. And anytime people jump to conclusions and don't rely on facts, that's obviously disappointing. For us, though, we have conversations about what's taking place in Marion County. When those types of things are said, it's not really an attack on me. It's an attack on 420 people who work in the prosecutor's office who are dedicated to their job. And we've won 31 out of our last 34 murder trials. We've won the last 10 murder trials in a row. And if the governor has conversations about what's going on in Marion County, not only can he look to those stats, but he has an open invitation to come to the prosecutor's office and not only meet with me, but the people who are in the courtroom every single day fighting for those convictions. We don't get those records and we don't get those results without Chief Bailey's help, without the community's help. And so if the governor thinks that he can add to that conversation, if he says, hey, there's additional things that can be done to help, we always want to have that conversation. Where I think my frustration sometimes comes from is everybody's quick to blame and point fingers. We need substantive responses that actually address the challenges that we're facing and give everybody the tools and resources that they need to be successful. I feel very comfortable with where we are in terms of our murder conviction rate, but we can't do that without Chief Bailey. We can't do that without the community, and if the governor thinks he can assist, he's got an open invitation to come.
Thank you all. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
For both Ryan and Chris, considering Indiana is a constitutional carry state, and as you pointed out, self-defense statute is very broad, How lucky are we that somebody's not dead of a gunshot wound?
Well, go ahead.
I mean, I mean, we've seen over the last several years the number of cases that have to be screened from the prosecutor's office and look through the lens of self-defense, I think, go up. And that's because a lot more people are armed and protecting, which is their right that they have. But when conflicts, which I've said repeatedly, continue to drive violence in our community, simple conflicts over things like parking spots, and the list goes on and on that we've seen over the last several years, these tragic cases that turn violent because someone has a weapon of any sort. But we're lucky that no one's dead right now as a result of this incident that involved a knife. But certainly more people have guns, and we have to be mindful of that as we start and deal with conflict in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.